What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. Good morning, HenricK the Wreck. How you doing, my man?
Oh, you know me. As always, I'm here, I'm ready to rage, and I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Hey, everything's great in Southern California. I can't believe it's winter. It doesn't even feel like that right now. I know rain might be coming. You know what that means. But when the sun's out, you can still stay indoors. Why not play video games? But we're here to discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. And we always like to start off the show with a bang. We're always circulating all across the internet to see what's going viral this week. And HenricK the Wreck and I, we had a lot of fun last week's show discussing how there's probably the right places to play video games. And now the new debate stands at whether you need to let go of the video games to start focusing on potentially your loved ones. And if you don't know what I mean, this is the video that went viral that was actually highlighted by ABC7 LA. Let's go ahead and take a look.
A new father tried to multitask, feeding his baby while playing video games. Let's just call it an epic fail. New mom, Caitlin, recorded this hysterical video. She said she was a typical exhausted new mother, sleep deprived from feeding every 2 to 3 hours, and that's when her fiance Shane stepped in, kind of. She said after she stopped recording him, he realized he could not actually multitask. He got off the game and gave his 3-week-old newborn a bottle properly.
The news reporter's just like, let's just call this an epic fail.
You know what I thought was more of an epic fail? Did you notice the Starbucks drink on carpet with no lid?
Yeah.
That was insane alone. I mean, maybe this guy has better foot to toe ratio control. Maybe not. I have no idea.
Maybe.
But people were quick to dive all over this viral video. The very first comment that we got here is the fact that you can't put your game down over your own kid. Second comment we got here is a kid caring for a kid. Hey, we're all kids when we play video games. And last, I sure hope people aren't impressed with this. The feeding time with your newborn is a bonding opportunity. I feel bad if you can't even stop the video games for a few minutes. Have you not been in the top 10 in Fortnite or Apex? Do you not understand that sometimes we need to complete it for a few more minutes? But yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to see the end result. I wish, the wife would have got the over the shoulder look, you know what I'm saying, to see if he was actually making things happen on the playing field. But hey, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And a lot of people were haters over this.
Clearly. I mean, to be fair, though, maybe he could make the playing video games with his child a bonding moment. Have you thought about that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What if he was playing Call of Duty, though? Still?
I'd say still.
Still tough. I know.
Yeah.
But hey, everybody thought that was very idiotic. Well, this next video is so baffling. It kind of makes you feel like you have a loss of words. And let's just let the video speak for itself.
Sticking out your yacht for the Rizzler.
Your mom's gonna kill me.
So
There's no way.
You're so phantom tax.
Bro.
I just wanna be your Sigma.
Oh, hold still. Hold still. Your mom's gonna kill me, man.
I'm not crazy about tattoos, HenricK, but if there was a certain video game franchise that you would like to see tattooed on your body, would it be the Fortnite logo or would it be something else?
No, it would be something else. It'd be something like maybe the Legend of Zelda Triforce, like that'd be cool, I think. But like Fortnite logo?
I think it depends on where you put the Triforce at, because if you start making like a male tramp stamp, and
that's true. Yeah, that might not be the best place to put it.
Through and you're like, can't get my eyes off it because it's just in such an odd spot. But people definitely wanted to comment all over this viral video. Very first comment that we got here was, of all the games, he went for freaking Fortnite. I know, that's pretty hilarious. This has got to be the dumbest tattoo in the history of tattoos. I mean, we've seen a few of these musicians tattoo all over their face, and let's just say there's a lot of dumb ones. And last, if you think your wife is going to kill you, just wait and see what your employer does. I don't know. He might fit in Southern California.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, considered some of the tattoos that I've, witnessed with my own two eyes. But hey,
I've seen plenty as well.
I'm sure you have, considering some of the music that we like, the hip hop, the rock, the punk, and heavy metal scene. Man, I mean, people are quite elaborate when it comes to their tattoo art on their body. But this video made me laugh really, really hard. Everybody's having a really great time, except HenricK the Wreck, when it comes to Fortnite OG, because he's not playing it. I don't know why. He's a hater. I keep telling him, do I have to check your temperature? What's wrong with you?
Like, there's other games to play, in my opinion. But hey, you know what? If people are having fun, go ahead, have fun. But you a clip. Go ahead. You got a clip of something funny, huh?
I do, because all I know is if I can convince HenricK the Wreck to join my squad and I find the perfect opportunity, I'd probably do this to you just to say, welcome back to Fortnite.
Last time that I did play Fortnite was when the no build came out and my friends wanted to play. This is basically what happened. We just started griefing each other. That was it.
I mean, when you see, everybody's been checking out that one hill with the shopping cart. So maybe next time when you're playing with your squad, try to convince everybody, hey, you remember the good old days? We got to get on the top. And then just hit them with that, the shockwave grenade, and you're all set. But the first comment that we got here is, to be fair, if you see an opportunity like this, you're obligated to act. Over 1,400 plus likes agree with that statement. Second one was, legally, you have to do it. You know what? You got to sometimes finesse some of these young lads when they jump back into the mix to Fortnite OG. And last, that's the kind of stuff that gets you kicked from the party. I have a handful of friends that probably kick me out for doing that. But you know what? It's all about the love of the game, man. You can't be taking it seriously all the time unless it's ranked. That's probably the only biggest no-no.
I'd say it depends on who you're playing with. Like, if you're playing ranked with the boys and you just don't care, like you're one of the guys that doesn't care, your friend's taking it way too seriously, maybe that is a moment to kind of make them reevaluate their choices to play ranked with you.
I think I just made myself a target, because I do kind of take ranked a little weirdly seriously. I'm like, come on, man. You can't be just flocking away. Stick together. Come on, man. And then when it's not ranked, that's when I start frolicking away. I'm gonna hit him from the side. What are you doing, Chris? Hey, shit happens. But we got a great show for everybody that's tuning in live on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And while you're here, you might as well hit the like and subscribe button so you never miss a live show. You'll see that notification bell that will always keep you in the loop. But hey, HenricK the Wreck, you ready to rock and roll? Is it time to rage?
It's time to rage. I'm born ready to rage, it looks like.
I'm bored. I woke up. I'm ready. Let's get it, fam.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is the game that everyone seems to have been talking about since its release. Indie developer Larian Studios, known for Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, headed the project. But does the game hold up to the hype? Let's first take a look at the gameplay and find out. The gameplay of Baldur's Gate 3 emulates that of a tabletop role-playing game experience. The game lets you roam around and interact with the environment. Once combat begins, however, you are locked into turn-based gameplay. When in combat, time is frozen until you choose an action, so you can plan accordingly. However, you are not stuck into just attacking or defending, as you have a range of options available to you during combat. And if you're clever enough, you can creatively win battles using the environment to your advantage. Outside of combat, you'll develop your character using experience points and interact with your party members and other NPCs, just like you would in a session of Dungeons and Dragons. Which leads me to the story. The story of Baldur's Gate 3 takes place in the Dungeons & Dragons universe. As such, the way you experience the story will change depending on the choices you make. While you could choose one of the origin characters provided to you, it is recommended to create a custom character for the full experience. To get you started on the story, you are captive aboard a Mind Flayer ship. A Mind Flayer then infects you with a parasite meant to transform you into a Mind Flayer. The ship is then attacked, and you escape alongside your party members as the ship crashes. It is vital from there to find help to rid yourself of the infection. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
All right, Larian Studios, they rolled a natural 20 with this one because this is an indie studio that made this game. That's amazing in my eyes, personally.
Oh, big
and
time.
I think that's definitely something you got to just, give them a little round of applause for that. Especially considering that they've disrupted the whole lineup of games this year. There's been developers out there who've said, oh, well, you know what? You can't expect a game to be at this level of quality from us because it's just not reasonable for us to make a game like that. What are you talking about? You are a AAA studio with thousands of employees, and then this studio comes around with only a few hundred, and they completely destroy your expectation of what's possible? Come on. That's just ridiculous in my opinion.
I think that's a good point because I think everybody's starting to recognize the real phenomenon around this game. And I was starting to think, we're going to be talking about it later on patch notes, but with all these new AI tools that are starting to come into the mix, it's always centered around, character development, narratives, side quests, and etc. That's what Baldur's Gate 3 does so well. It's flawless. It's impeccable. And I feel like because it seems like there's a lot of discussion with some of these games that are dropping during even the holiday break, cough, Modern Warfare 3, it's showing that these crunch periods are not really working out, but they want to get these games delivered a lot faster. Do you see that maybe this is why the magic is so real when it comes to this? Or maybe got to take notes with this game because maybe AI can't recreate what Larian Studios did with this masterpiece?
No, I really think that it is a game to take notes from because from top to bottom, this entire studio was really invested in making this game come to reality and be a thing that is a hit for even just the fans of the Baldur's Gate series in the first place. And, it just so happened that their passion for making a good game shone through everything that they did in the game. And that's why it's been such a hit with not even just fans of Baldur's Gate, the series, but also just fans of RPG games and games in general. Because, at least I see it that if from top to bottom, everyone who's involved with a project is passionate about a project, at least to a degree, then the end result should be good, right? Because you're putting in your best efforts to make this project good.
I think they went back to the old school tactical RPG elements that make it fun. I know a lot of Dungeons and Dragons fans are really kind of feeling like the board game elements work flawlessly when it comes to a video game adaptation. One of the coolest elements is what you highlighted in the video. You got to be crazy if you just kind of pick a default character. You got to build, you got to mold, you got to redefine the emotions that come with your playable character. And I think what's really dope is that you have like 10 potential party members that you can bring on with your squad, and they react and they grow to the decisions that you make as you play this game. And it's kind of sad because, I start thinking about games like Starfield, which was supposed to be giving you more of that realistic feel when it comes to bonding with these characters, but you could really make friends and enemies in Baldur's Gate 3, and that's what's going to entice you to even want to do a second playthrough. Because I don't know about you, Henrik, you get 100+ hours in and you go and play it a second time around, it feels like a whole new experience.
No, yeah, exactly. I went through this game more of like a good person, I kind of made the choices that I could that were like more aligned with good. But if I go through and I decide, okay, I'm just going to be chaotic evil or something and go around and everyone's going to die when they come across me, unless I like them for some reason, then that'd be an entirely different playthrough at that point, because I'm going to have different storylines, probably different party members. Everything's going to be at least somewhat different.
Oh yeah, it's a great point, and there's been some funny videos online where like people are getting really creative on how to beat certain bosses in the game. Like I saw one where like they cast spelled the person into a goat and then got Spartan kicked out out of the arena like at 300. So you gotta love it. I think at times, especially in the beginning, the combat's pretty difficult. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of one of those people that kind of steer away from these kind of style
Chris,
of RPG games.
You know what's coming right now when you say that it's difficult. That's just a skill issue, man.
Fine. Okay, fine. It is a skill issue. But, some of us struggle a little bit. What I'm trying to tell the listening audience is hang in there. I know this game might steer some people away from actually wanting to pick it up for this reason. We talked about this a month ago when it came to the Assassin's Creed series about how they wanted to steer off from Valhalla, Odyssey, and Origins when it came to Mirage, because there was a very funny discussion on Reddit talking about country-based games and city-based games. Did you feel like this game was just a tad too long? It felt like it could have easily been slashed in half and still would have been an excellent game as it is.
You got a good point about that, because the game is very long, and it wouldn't have necessarily hurt to have the game be a bit shorter, especially if, depending on the choices that you make, by the time you get towards the end of the game, it might not feel as fleshed out depending on what choices you've made. But at the same time, I will say that if you are really experiencing the side quests and everything, like, not a whole lot really feels like filler in this game. And that's actually commendable, because when you have big games like this that are 100 almost 200 hours long, there's a lot of filler. That's the whole knock of country-based games, is that a lot of the missions you go and do, they just feel like filler, and you kind of don't want to do them as a result of that.
Yeah, because you want to find the next cosmetic or the next great weapon that can elevate your party members, and including yourself, to excel inside the game. And like you said, you nailed it right out of the park. The side quests are so good. It'll get you hooked to want to explore the land. This is definitely a repeat. Hardcore repeat. It's gonna be for sure in the top 2. I know there's 6 listed in the game of the year. It just recently got announced. Stick around. We're gonna be talking about it here on Rage Quit, but it's for sure a game of the year contender, and you're going to want to dive all over this. I know there's going to be Spider-Man 2 fans that are like, I just want a game that's only 15 hours. I want to burn through it. But this is a game where you're going to feel like the game developers actually put the value of your dollar in the right hands, and they really delivered something that's truly iconic, and I know you're going to love it.
Oh, absolutely. I think that this is a game that I would recommend to anyone who even has a smidge of interest in what it's about, to go give it a chance and see if you really like that style of gameplay. Because, maybe you might not like that style of gameplay, but if you want to even try it, I'd say go try it, because you probably will end up enjoying the game, and you'll have plenty of content to go through. And for me, especially considering it's a repeat for me, I'm going to have a chance to go through it all over again, and have at that point probably close to 300 hours in this game.
I know, isn't that freaking insane? But hey, you heard it from us. It's a definite repeat. You're gonna want to get your eyes, and you're gonna want to be moving your thumbs on your controller, or clacking on the keypad on your PC for this game. Baldur's Gate 3, it is definitely a repeat from both HenricK the Wreck and I. But hey, stick around, because we got so much more left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. I think it's time to rage. You ready to rage, HenricK?
I'm ready to rage. Let's go.
Let's get it, fam. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Nominations for the 2023 Game Awards, recognizing the gaming industry's best games and creators of the year, have been announced. Two of the year's biggest sequels, the survival horror title Alan Wake 2 from Remedy Entertainment and role-playing game Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian Studios, nabbed the most nominations with 8 each, including Game of the Year. The 4 other titles rounding out the nominations for the Game of the Year are also entries in the long-running franchises Marvel's Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac Games, Resident Evil 4 from Capcom, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom from Nintendo. I mean, that lineup is so freaking killer. But before Henrik the Wreck and I start debating about what we think is going to be the Game of the Year nominees, we scoped out the land that is the so-called internet. Or is it Web3 now? Is it the meta? I have no idea. But we're going to read the very first comment here for you guys. Is it me, or this would have been the perfect year for a, quote, best horror game category? It's funny. We said this last year. I'm shocked.
Yeah, actually we did.
Yeah, like this would have been the best opportunity to finally introduce it, because between Alan Wake 2, Resident Evil 4, Dead Space remake, Dead Island 2, that category would have been stacked. It feels like 2017 with Zelda and Mario both being nominated for Game of the Year. What an amazing year for Nintendo. Man, the game selection here are pretty cool. Just finding the winner of this year's Game of the Year is the equivalent of trying to find a needle in the haystack. Nearly impossible. I'm always excited to hear the Game Awards orchestra. Yeah, a lot of great music.
Yeah. They do an amazing job every year with that.
So true. Grammys, Oscars, take notes. The fact that Advance Wars got more nominations than Octopath Traveler 2 is frankly astounding. And last, the Game of the Year award is going to be Thought Choice. This year, we have great nominees and for different players. And so, Henrik, are there any video games that you would consider a front runner in this mix?
Oh, well, definitely, we just talked about it, but definitely Baldur's Gate 3 is up there. It's interesting that Alan Wake 2 is on there, considering that basically just came out, and I haven't played it yet. I've heard great things, but I wonder how much recency bias is involved in that. But hey,
you can say the same about Super Mario Bros. Wonder, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I was quite surprised by that.
Choices there. Yeah,
big time.
It's a good game, but I don't know if that would be my Game of the Year choice personally. Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
It's a great game. It's family friendly, but absolutely not. This was, to me, feels a bit political within the gaming industry. I feel like there's no way in hell, especially considered. Do you even remember what was like one of the top games that was being discussed 24/7 along with Star Wars?
Oh, definitely Starfield, huh?
No, I'm not talking about
aside from Starfield,
I'm talking about in the first quarter 1 of 2023. What was that game that everybody was gravitating to, playing it 24/7? Do you remember that game?
Oh yeah. Now I remember what you're mentioning. You're mentioning Hogwarts Legacy.
Hogwarts Legacy. And gamers out there, can you guess how many nominations Hogwarts Legacy got? 0. How is that possible? 0 nominations, not even filled out. That is insane. And I know you were biting your tongue before we jumped on live. You kind of referenced something, and I said, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. You better save it for the show. And what is it that, because you were saying you have a theory about why this might be the case?
Well, aside from it being earlier in the year, so, there's been plenty of great games that came out after it. But I think also a lot of people kind of shoved that game to the wayside because of the controversy surrounding it. They don't really want to get involved with it anymore. And I doubt that the Game Awards wants to get involved with it either.
You want to remind the listening audience what that controversy was?
It was the controversy surrounding how it's a Harry Potter game, and the author of Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, is very controversial with her take on how she views trans women. And people were not happy about that because now when you buy a Harry Potter thing, anything, that's Harry Potter related, ends up getting some revenue towards her. And so basically, you're kind of funding her campaign in that sense to, you know, hate trans women in a sense.
Well, because remember in Hogwarts Legacy, there was like a side, character that's walking around the halls and it's a trans character. So obviously JK had something to say about the issue because of her stance, and that's her. She's human. She can do whatever the hell she wants. It doesn't necessarily reflect HenricK or I's view. But it's crazy to think that even a controversy like that would swindle into the mix. We're talking about game of the year. We don't give a shit about outside political opinions. We're talking about games that gamers gravitated towards, and everybody was so excited about this game. People were pushing for the studio to drop a DLC. We wanted Hogwarts Quidditch. We wanted those matches inside the games. And so when you start seeing that there was so much hype in the first 3 months of 2023, and to consider 0 nominations is a complete slap in the face. And don't expect a sequel to this game. I mean, the studio companies are seeing the results of the Game Awards and they're thinking, why would we want to follow up on this now? If the community is not embracing it, why should we continue to move forward with the quote unquote true sequel? And that's what's really insane. And I guess the really kind of like the last note that I know that I really wanted to highlight was it was kind of wild to see for the first time in a long time, it feels like, that Bethesda title it only got nominated for a single award. And that was under Best RPG.
The whole thing about that game, though, we haven't done a pause or repeat on it, maybe for a reason, but that game is literally the lowest mainline Bethesda game in terms of rating on Steam, and that's wild considering it's lower than Fallout 76, which had a terrible launch, and you would think that would have a lower rating as a result, but when you go look on Steam, it's actually mostly positive. Whereas Starfield, that's at mixed now, meaning people are not happy about it.
But it's just crazy to see that was being promoted as the game of the generation. Then it became potential game of the year. To we can't even pull the same Steam count that we have with our past installment Skyrim. So that is very insane. And some people have been kind of considering whether exclusivity should be considered in the mix when it comes to judgment of game of the year. Is that a fair assessment to even consider when you come to vote? Because you, the fans, can decide who takes the golden throne.
Yeah, because it's a thing that's going to probably never go away in the industry until maybe the console manufacturers decide to put all their exclusives on every platform. But
that's called a smart TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Streaming coming soon. Cloud gaming.
Exactly. But when you have a company like Nintendo that wants to put The Legend of Zelda on their console only, and you have games that are on just the PS5 as well, it's just it kind of is okay, well, not everyone's played these games as a result, because not everyone's going to have a Switch. Not everyone's going to have a PS5.
But have you considered this? I know we're going to be talking about it later on patch notes. I'm kind of jumping, but we do know that there's a live action Legend of Zelda in the works, and Sony's involved with the distribution. So when you start seeing that Nintendo and Sony are starting to get a little bit more friendly towards the end of 2023, do you consider that we might one day see Nintendo games show up on a Sony TV, the Sony Smart TV?
Hey, you know what? I wouldn't be against it, considering Nintendo's been kind of lacking on the hardware side of things. Yeah. So it'd be nice to see their games, their first party games, on other platforms. Just make sure that other people can play their games, because they're great games and everyone should be able to play them. But at the same time, just because they're working on the movie together doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna see eye to eye on their video game stances.
Absolutely. And I'm going to show the list again for all the viewing audience that's tuning in live with us. And this is the game of the year. And the question needs to be asked. And HenricK, you see these 6 games right here. What are you vibing with at this moment? What do you feel like is the clear winner for game of the year?
Well, as I said, I haven't played Alan Wake 2 yet, but or Spider-Man 2 either. But I will say that the only one that makes sense to me right now is Baldur's Gate 3.
Remember The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom broke records with how many people were gravitating towards Nintendo's first $70+ game? I'm gonna say Legend of Zelda. I'm gonna have to say it. Yeah, I think they're gonna low key finesse their way in, and people are gonna gravitate it because I just don't know. I know that the game is being celebrated in an inner core community for Baldur's Gate 3, but the fans, I feel like Nintendo has a lot larger audience, and I feel like they're gonna be pushing for the Legend of Zelda. That's just my opinion. But hey, that is the beauty about the Game Awards. The 10th annual Game Awards show will stream live from the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles on Thursday, December 7th, across more than 30 platforms, including YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, TikTok Live, X, and so much more. And the fans will be able to help choose the winners in all categories via online voting on thegameawards.com. Well, man, hey, let's start to switch gears because why don't you set the tone, Henrik?
Sure. Well, in a final act of stupidity before being acquired by Microsoft, Activision decided to stain the legacy of Call of Duty, if it hasn't been already, in a way that we simply have not seen before. So Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is now the lowest scored game in the entire history of the series. And it's not just that. It's the lowest by a huge amount.
A huge amount!
Yeah, as you can see on this chart. These scores make it the 195th best reviewed PS5 game of 2023. And now it says best, but that's out of 199 total.
199
right at the bottom.
Games on the PS5. What?
Yeah, and that puts it down below there with games the likes of Quantum Error and the horrific Gollum game. That
What's funny? I gotta stop you for a second. Didn't you say that before the launch on November 10th?
Yeah.
It's gonna get a worse review than Gollum. Go on.
Oh man, that was a joke. I couldn't even have expected it to be as bad as it was.
Yeah, that's true.
That is also including 2023's big misses like Redfall at 56 and Forspoken at 64. So that's saying something. But gamers were very quick to express their frustration online, and we do have some comments, so we can start going through those.
Yeah, let's get it. So the first comment that we got is, remember, always blame management and executives for poor products. No video game developer wants to make a bad game. Edit. Quote, some do. End quote. You're beyond help if you genuinely think people want to waste years of their life to make a game bad on purpose. Quote, maybe they're just incompetent. End quote. Who is hiring the incompetent developers? Wake up. I'm sick of it being somehow the responsibility of players to remain patient while companies work out their shortcomings. Consumers. So that 235 gigabyte install size means it has a complete campaign, right? Activision CEO.
I just see here the meme of Anakin and Padme.
Yeah, exactly. What really sucks about this is this doing horrible isn't going to tell them to do better. It's going to make them blame the developers or the game itself. A lot of developer studios and games have been shelved because of garbage publishers refusing responsibility. I'm convinced that Activision is purposely making games bigger to make it harder for players to consider deleting and go through the re-downloading process, and it also passively discouraged players to download or find other games since it eats much of their storage. Ooh, hot take. Okay. It's honestly so sad to hear that Activision is so money hungry that they basically force Sledgehammer to work overtime just to make a $40 DLC and make it disguise itself as a full $70 game just by simply slapping a number 3 at the end of the title. I hope Activision never attempts to do something like this ever again unless they're prepping for another mass online protest by all decent gamers. That's pretty wild. Henrik, it seems that it's been proven that Activision's insane crunch schedule to pump out increasingly terrible yearly installments to sell something, anything to sell during the holidays. What's your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I don't think that they need to release a game every year. Like, this is becoming the Madden of first-person shooters, where you just have a release every year, and there's not much difference between iterations, and that's bad. That's just not a good look for you as a company. It's not a good look for the developers, even though it's not their fault. Like that comment said, it's really management's fault. But I would like to see them take 2, maybe 3 years off of making a Call of Duty game, and take that step back, take that time to instead make a game that people actually want to play.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point, because according to Bloomberg, Sledgehammer Games had to make Modern Warfare 3 in a year and a half rather than the typical 3-year development cycle. And the studio originally pushed for a new installment in the Advanced Warfare series. So it kind of sounds like, Sledgehammer studio head Aaron Howland took to social media to say that the game was conceived as a premium game from the beginning, but that's kind of funny because a lot of anonymous developers are contradicting his statement, and we have it right here. On behalf of the extremely talented team across Sledgehammer Games and our partner studios with whom we've collaborated on development, this has been a labor of love to lead the first ever back-to-back sequel in Call of Duty. What? The first back-to-back sequel? What have I missed?
They're talking about how it's always been like, okay, now you have Modern Warfare, then you have a side story, then you have Modern Warfare 2, then you got a side story. Now it's Modern Warfare 2, then 3 with this one. I think that's what they're talking about. But at the same time, is it really a sequel?
No. I've been hearing people say that the sequel, what they meant by true sequel, is everything that you played on Modern Warfare 2 comes along with you to Modern Warfare 3. That was kind of the understanding that I got. Not that, the campaign, because everybody's thrashing the campaign. No one gives a shit. No one's really jumping into Call of Duty anymore for a true, authentic campaign style story, because they just haven't been able to deliver that in years, it feels like. So it sounds like when you hear the studio head do that, it feels like he's doing everything in his power to defend their work so that they can get another opportunity, with now Xbox included, to redeem themselves with the potential Advanced Warfare 2 game. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in a position like this and you're management of this fiasco, you really have to kind of justify why things didn't go so well. And when it comes to their whole like, oh, now this is a true sequel because your cosmetics are moving over, that's really something that should be just expected, considering now you're having these games come out as live service games, meaning people are buying battle passes for cosmetics. Yeah. They're buying skin and tracer packs and all that. Like, why are you going to buy and expect to only have these cosmetics for a year before then you move on to the next Call of Duty game? That just sounds a little ridiculous to me, in my opinion, to really want to buy something like that and then just not only have it for like a year,
exactly,
maximum,
a year and a half.
And then, it's not relevant anymore. I should be able to go to the next game and still have those cosmetics and then be like, yeah, that's right, I had the cosmetics from like 2 years ago. What about
maybe that might be the push moving forward, because you were informing me that for PC gamers that want to play Call of Duty, they opened up their own launcher. So maybe they're trying to connect all the games together moving forward.
Probably, but at the same time, that launcher is kind of a terrible experience in itself.
That's true. Too many of them.
You have another launcher to deal with on your computer, and then on top of that, you launch the launcher, you scroll to the game you want to play, you hit the game you want to play, you wait for the launcher to close, then you wait for the game to launch, and then you choose if you want to go to campaign or online, and then you wait for the game to close again, and then it opens up again in whatever mode you chose. And it's just like, come on.
I'm wondering like when certain gaming talents are going to start growing some cojones and start doing a push like we're hearing with reports in the movie industry when it came to the new John Cena Coyote movie. I don't know if you heard about this, HenricK, where Warner Brothers Studios shelved the project, and then reports last night were that other filmmakers that had booked meetings throughout the week heard about the news and in protest and solidarity decided to end phone calls, decided to end in-person meetings because they never gave the film an opportunity to, because it was tested in small audiences and it was being hooted and raved as like the next Roger Rabbit, and then to just be shelved like immediately. It feels like some of these gaming talents are going to have to start making that push if they actually are going to want to start seeing some of the demands that they want, which is kind of a perfect segue for the next transition topic. If you're ready to set the tone, HenricK.
Yeah. We can go ahead and move on. What's going on with AI again? And now
I
with
know,
Microsoft?
like this is something that, you know, gaming talents and even industry leaders are super split on. And let me give you the rundown, because Microsoft is making more AI tools, but gaming industry talents are very concerned about the Xbox AI push that will lead to more job losses. Microsoft and its M12 Ventures portfolio company, InWorld AI, announced that the tech firms are developing generative AI tools for video games. And if you haven't seen a teaser of what this magic is like, let's go ahead and take a look. And while Microsoft framed the planned AI tools as a way for developers to, quote, empower themselves, end quote, the onslaught of industry rage suggests the news has made actors and writers feel anything but. So let's go ahead and check out the comments, because this is interesting. Every single response came from a tweet from the Game Awards. As we start to go through these, you're going to sense that people are not happy with the Game Awards announcing this news. Video game companies love being like, quote, finally, we have the technology to lay off our workers even faster than before, end quote. I effing hate this. Hey, TGA, as a member of your future class, this does not honor or celebrate our work, and you should be ashamed of devaluing artists this way. That is a gal that is with Insomniac Games that is working on the new Wolverine game. AI is egregiously disrespectful and dangerous to the workers who pour their time and creativity into making the games we love. In a year with thousands of layoffs despite record corporate profits, I sincerely hope to see peers and fans stand with developers and our labor movements. Not a good day to promote this, Xbox. Actually, there's no good day. Please don't steal jobs from voiceover actors and writers and ... humans, sad face. This is scary. Recording NPCs is how many voice actors cut their teeth in this industry. This will make it even harder for new talent to break into the video games, which, to be honest, can already be pretty difficult to begin with. I'm worried for game developers and writers as well. Imagine announcing this in a year where the games industry has laid off 6,000 plus people. I will never play any game that InWorld has any part in making. But clearly, the gaming industry talents are expressing their frustration with InWorld AI. And I'm just wondering, is this a tone-deaf response in an industry that's already been plagued, as suggested, with over 6,000 plus layoffs this year? What do you think, HenricK?
I mean, yeah, that is the big concern that all these industry players have with AI, and it's the fact that it's going to replace people. And I mean, yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to replace people. You could use AI in conjunction with having just actual people, because people do have to go in and
I was
still
just
fix
about to say, I
stuff.
was like, where are people getting this
But
whole idea that it's going to replace humans? We're done. An AI, like, you still have to type in and you still have to direct the AI tool to develop the story that you're envisioning in your own cranium.
But at the same time, I will say, when you have a big company, like we'll say, like Bungie, for example, how they just, saw that Destiny 2 was not giving them enough profit. So they decided, okay, well, we're going to lay off a bunch of people. When you have companies like that deciding all of a sudden to just lay off people because they need to keep their higher executives at the same pay, when you have AI tools come in like this, it's just another vector for them to look at and be like, well, I mean, we could drop maybe a couple of our team for the writing team because we have AI to kind of like pick up the slack, right? So we still have someone writing or
I mean,
something writing.
Those are all good points. I mean, that is one side of the argument. The people at the higher top are taking all the dinero and they're not splitting the load to the real people that are bringing these iconic games to our consoles, to our PCs. But this whole year, 2023, has been a huge discussion about crunch period and developers throwing up in trash cans because they feel like if they don't meet this deadline, they're going to not have a job. So don't you see in-world AI actually speeding up the process, making things come into fruition a little bit faster, and then the human element comes in and then starts tweaking it so then it makes it a bigger tool? I mean, we've showcased so many outlooks where, even Ghostwriter for Ubisoft is so freaking fascinating to check out, or just the elements that we're hearing about, like Fortnite Creative, for example, when it comes to Unreal Engine 5, we're getting people that are librarians, they're construction workers that now have the tools at the comfort of their own home and they're able to actually make a profit. I think that's really cool. I don't know why people are so fearful of AI. I really don't.
And here's the thing, though. Like, if you're going to talk about crunch, Chris, then here's the thing. What's going to stop the higher ups from saying, well, I mean, yeah, we could eliminate crunch time now that we have these tools, but why would we when the tools were designed to speed things up? So now your deadline is no longer 5 months down the road. It's actually 2 months down the road.
Well, that's what I'm saying. After a while.
Oh, well, too bad. You have AI. You can have, you can make the work happen.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of these studio heads have to fight for their employees and say, like, yeah, now that we have the new tools, yeah, that's fair enough. But have you not seen what Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 did? Putting them on half the, cutting the, the scheduled time in half. It just doesn't work like that. I still think in a 3-year process with the power of AI tools, you're going to get a more enhanced experience. And that's just how I truly believe. I think that the fear factor is totally insane, especially considering now we've got all these cool Photoshop tools where people are like, wow, I can draw a circle and I can type in anything that I want. Oh, can I put mountains in the background? Can you make it snowy? Actually, I want some fall. I want some, some leaves falling down on me. All these elements are so freaking cool, so freaking enhancing that, trust me, no one wants to see anybody get laid off. But also at the same time, people got to recognize it's 2023 and the internet is like 25 years old. I mean, you have to move along. Electronics, as everybody jokes, is the most obsolete shit of all times. Cycle moves. You got to get along with the curve. And if you're not, a lot of these people that are commenting about that are not going to be joining the wave. You're going to get caught in the undertow, unfortunately.
I think personally there's some culture shifts that need to happen alongside this for it to really be accepted by everyone in the industry. Because if you don't change the culture around deadlines for games and making these developers stay in the office for, hours on end just to hit these deadlines, then I don't think that AI is going to really help in anything. It'll help in the sense of like, oh, maybe the game will come out faster. So in the consumer sense, maybe the game might come out quicker. But and on the back end, like, it's just not going to help anyone when it comes to developing games if they don't change that culture of crunch time as well.
Yeah, that's why the video game industry has to get unionized. They currently aren't still. It's been a discussion that's been fluttering that potentially could come in the year 2024. A lot of this could change if you do that. And then there will be protections that come with AI tools so you don't lose your job or go, holy shit, this guy didn't even write a single thing into the mix. Everything was pre-written with AI and now I got to work around that. I get it, but a lot of the times you have to come up with the concept and then put it into the AI tool, and then it further expands from what you gave the tool for. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go, gosh, what if it starts doing a lot of repeat, playthroughs? It's new. It's brand new. Just let it breathe. Not everybody's going to be embracing it right away. Trust me. But hey, great debate, HenricK. We're going to see what happens. But in world, AI is here to stay with Xbox/Microsoft. But hey, I know you were pretty excited about this at the top of the year, and we were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we just highlighted a news that is not real. And then come to find out it is real after all. So break down this breaking news.
Yeah, so The Legend of Zelda, it's a legendary franchise, and it may be a massive open world, but our little green capped hero, rather, is about to enter an even larger universe, the real world. According to Nintendo this time, not just some, hunky-dunk, reporter somewhere making a rumor. This is from Nintendo directly. A live-action Legend of Zelda film is in the works, produced by creator Shigeru Miyamoto, legendary developer in charge of The Legend of Zelda on the game side. And it's in development now, so it'll be a few years probably before it comes out, but we have that to look forward to. And we also have Wes Ball to look forward to, because he's the director of this movie, and he's now also known as the director for the Maze Runner series and the upcoming Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And so he's in charge. So we'll see how that goes. I have some opinions on that, but at the same time, it's exciting. It's finally happening.
Hold off on your opinion, because let's
we do have some comments on what people were saying in regards to the news of this coming out.
Yeah, let's go ahead and read the first
start showing
comment.
those. Yeah.
Right. So the first comment that we got here is, when will they announce Chris Pratt as Link? No? No? You sure?
I think I'm good.
Are you positive? You Louis Vuitton?
I'm good.
Or does he look like he'd fit in the Chronicles of Narnia?
Yeah, maybe that. There you go.
It's finally time. Tom Holland.
That might not be the best choice either.
Yeah, no. Let's go. So even more posters. Idris Elba, Emma Watson. We also got Hunter Schafer. You might have recognized her from Euphoria on HBO. Says it would be so cool to play Zelda in the upcoming live action. Quote, I love the game personally. I played it as a kid and I still play it now. Who knows? That would be pretty cool. Some people are, kind of trying to, hey, hello, keep me in mind. Why not animated?
There you go. There's the
Why
comment.
everything gotta be live action, man? And so, yeah, I mean, the live action Legend of Zelda might follow the Super Mario Bros. Movie and become another journey in questionable acting choices. And who would you like to see take the helm in these iconic roles?
Honestly, I'd like to see someone who's not a A-list Hollywood actor.
Oh, so it's going to go to Disney Channel. No?
You don't necessarily need to go that route, but
look for the kids in the Kids Bop and do a musical.
But I feel like, we don't necessarily need this iconic character to be also acted by an iconic face. It could be someone who's up and coming. That's fine.
That's
because at the end of the day, the character Link is supposed to be a kind of like a placeholder for the person actually playing the game anyways. So it's a self-insert character in a sense. So if you put an iconic face like Ryan Gosling or Tom Holland or, someone like that, it's just not going to be a self-insert character at that point. At that point, it's going to be whoever it actually is cast as. And
what about Timothée Chalamet?
Okay, no.
You're not feeling it with that one?
That's a no-go either.
That was like the first person I was kind of thinking of. I was like, I could kind of see it maybe working out, maybe a little bit. Or what might actually be really, really cool is to kind of do something like in the Oscar winner movie, Coda. Because think about it, gamers. When have you ever heard Link speak? Never.
Yeah, I mean,
So
he's
this
done
could
like
be a
grunts and
really
things like that.
Yeah, so like
That's
this could
it.
be a really cool opportunity for a deaf actor to play such an iconic video game hero, and it could really be a very inclusive, movie for a cinematic audience. But maybe again, it might be kind of difficult to do that. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, that is part of the criticism that a lot of people have about the games, especially the newer ones like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, is that the character that you're playing doesn't speak. So the storyline kind of suffers in some regard as a result of that. But I think that in a movie sense, you could make that work if you
Yeah.
really wanted to. It just means that if they go that route, they need to have the time to sit down and actually make it work and not just throw it in there as like, oh yeah, here you go. He's not going to talk.
Yeah, I mean, you gamers, you got to let us know what's good. We're super curious on who you would be your casting choice for Link or Zelda. There's going to be a lot of iconic characters that could potentially even show up as well, or they might even introduce a brand new character that's never been a part of the video game series. I always hate when they do that kind of stuff because they feel like that's the only way to move the story forward. We need to bring in a whole new face, a whole new look. But hey, this is finally happening, finally coming into fruition. Illumination Pictures isn't creating it. I know that was the biggest fear in the beginning, that a Minion studio would dive all over The Legend of Zelda. So fear not. Come all.
Well, in that sense, I mean, Illumination, they make movies for kids. And not to say that this movie won't be for kids, but The Legend of Zelda really delves into darker topics than Mario does.
True.
Like
It's
death
very
and
more like
war
the
and
teenage
the
audience.
struggle of that. Yeah, more of like a PG-13 probably.
Right. And so, there's a lot of potential that can come from this, and there is no date. I mean, it's all very early development. And obviously, if we get more news about casting choices, we will inform our Rage Quit fans. And man, I mean, this has been a great show, HenricK. As always, Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show is live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And while you've made it to the end of the show, you might as well hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a live show. And HenricK the Wreck is always cooking up amazing content on his YouTube channel. Let the people know what's good.
Yeah, I post videos on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, or X, as some people would like to call it. And this week I have a
Elon
series
Musk would like for you to call it X, but
yeah,
go
exactly.
on.
And this week I have a video planned for my series Games to Play, where I get to look at a game that I like to play and just showcase it and say, hey, go try it out. And I alternate between that and In Development Soapbox. So next week will be an In Development Soapbox. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and if you want to go to thechriscollinsshow.com and check out film, music, gaming, political interviews, there's so much to delve into. And I love to know you guys' thoughts beyond Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. But again, this has been such an amazing show. We can't thank you enough, you gamers, for making this show possible. And we will see you next week, fam. Peace.
Next week, same time to rage.
Time to rage, baby. We'll see you then. Woo!